let's talk about adaptive immunity. Now remember, adaptive immunity is what we refer to as specific immunity. So I'm going to give kind of a general overview of our two different aspects of adaptive immunity, and then the rest of the chapter is going to be going in depth with all the different cells that are going to be involved and how the two different immunity processes are working in conjunction with each other. So when I'm talking about an adaptive immunity, and I'm talking about your immune response, which is what your body is going to do in reaction to some sort of antigen or pathogen, is going to be first your innate immunity finding that pathogen and then presenting it to these cells in your adaptive immunity, so then you can make a targeted attack against this one particular antigen. So the immune response is going to require both the innate and adaptive immunity in order for us to get a working coordinated process. So for our adaptive immunity, we're going to have two different factors that we're looking at. We're going to be looking at either cell-mediated or antibody-mediated immunity. Now remember, these are going to be a coordinated act that they're going to be working together to try to destroy the antigens. So for the adaptive, that means that we are going to have one specific target that we're looking for. So it could be a virus, could be bacteria, whatever it's going to be. We have to present an antigen from that pathogen. So remember, antigens are just those protein markers that you have on their cells. Those identify them as not being us. And so all these little antigens are very specific to that one exact pathogen. And so once we find that antigen, we're going to present it on those innate white blood cells to our T cells. Our T cells are primarily involved with what we refer to as cell-mediated immunity. Cell-mediated immunity, again, is going to be an activated T cell. That activated T cell by that phagocytic cell that presented the antigen that came from the pathogen. The T cells will then create more different types of T cells, and T cells directly attack body cells that are going to be infected. So this is going to be a physical and a chemical attack to destroy your body cells that have that antigen in it, because they're going to have that pathogen in it. So the whole purpose of that is going to be destroying those cells, and you destroy your antigens. Well, the cell-mediated involves T cells. Antibody-mediated is going to involve the B cells or B lymphocytes. So it's antibody-mediated because the B cells are going to make plasma cells that release antibodies. The antibodies will circulate in your blood, through your plasma, and then through your interstitial fluid. The antibodies will then attach to antigens, and the antibodies don't actually destroy the antigens, but they're going to enhance the innate immunity to be able to destroy the antigens. So the antibodies attach to the antigens, but the end result is going to be destruction of antigens. So we have this coordinated attack with the T and B cells responding to that one particular antigen, and then we try to destroy that antigen. Now, some very important characteristics of our adaptive immunity is going to be that it's going to have specificity. So remember, we said there's just one pathogen coming in. We're going to take the antigen from that exact pathogen, and then we're going to tailor a response through our T cells and B cells to destroy that antigen. So it's specific to that. Even if you have a completely different virus that happens to infect at the same time, these cells that are activated for that particular antigen will completely ignore any of the other pathogens that are in there. So you have to have specificity. You're also going to have versatility that's going to be within our adaptive immunity. It's versatile because you can recognize a large number of antigens. So if you're specific to that particular one, you still need to be able to identify the thousands of other antigens that you're going to be able to come in contact to. So lymphocytes are going to have that ability to recognize a bunch of different ones, and then once you find that one, tailor a response to that specific thing. A big thing about adaptive immunity that you do not find in innate immunity is memory. The memory cells are where you're going to have lymphocytes that previously recognized that pathogen. You went through the process of destroying that antigen, but then you keep some of those lymphocytes inactive, and they stay within your lymph nodes. They stay within your lymphatic system, so that if that pathogen comes again, you already have a T cell that's going to be ready for it. You already have a B cell that's ready for it, so you have a much faster response. In fact, you'll have such a fast response that oftentimes you don't feel any symptoms of the infection at all, because your adaptive immunity is going to come into play so very quickly. A big thing you have to have with your adaptive immunity, though, is tolerance. And when I say tolerance, I mean tolerance to your own cells. Your lymphocytes need to be able to recognize that this is your body cell that's healthy and not attack it. So the tolerance is where your immunity ignores your self-antigens and doesn't attack those. if you have things where you are attacking your own cells, that will lead to things like an autoimmune disease. So here's a nice table that's going to kind of divide those two responses that we have. So again, we're talking about immunity, so that's the ability to resist disease and infection. When we talked about the innate is that non-specific immunity. This is genetically determined, which means you are born with these innate responses. So that table that we have with like 7 different innate responses previously, all of those are non-specific immunities. You don't need prior exposure. You don't need to become sensitized to anything because those are always in place. There is no waiting period, so there's nothing where you have to find something that's then going to allow you to start a response. These are immediate responses that are going to happen because they are always there. Adaptive immunity is something that you have to gain. So it's not present at birth. You have to have some sort of exposure to it, and then your adaptive immunity is going to come in play. And then you're going to have that coordinated response between your T cells and your B cells. This is not immediate. You have to have exposure, and then you have to activate specific cells in order for this to happen. So adaptive takes longer to come into place, but once you do, it is very targeted and much more efficient at cleaning up one particular pathogen. So with your adaptive immunity, we can look at it as active immunity or passive immunity. Active immunity means you're getting exposed to an antigen. You activate your T cells and your B cells, and that's your active immunity. If it's not active immunity and you're getting immunity from it, we refer to that as passive immunity. Passive immunity means you don't have exposure to the antigen, but you are physically given antibodies from a different source that will allow you to kind of fight against whatever that particular pathogen is. Remember, your active immunity with your T cells and your B cells, the B cells make antibodies once you're exposed to it. Passive immunity means you're not activating your B cells, you are just getting antibodies from someone. Well, how would you get antibodies for someone? It could be naturally acquired or it could be artificially acquired. Naturally acquired are going to be things where like you're getting fetal antibodies from the mother. So across the placenta, you will get antibodies that are passed from mom to baby. When she is breastfeeding, antibodies that she makes are going to then transfer, not all of them, but certain types of antibodies will transfer across the breast milk. So that is going to be a passive immunity that newborns are going to receive from their mother because it was given from the mother making antibodies, and they're just getting the antibodies, not the antigen. There means there's no memory with it though. So they got the antibodies, which is a short-term sort of thing, and then the antibodies will eventually go out of their circulation and they won't have that immunity anymore. You can also have artificially acquired, which basically means you go to the hospital and then they are going to give you an IV bag that's going to have antibodies that are going to help to fight off an infection because maybe your immunity is not working as well as it should, so they artificially give you some other antibodies to help with your immune response. So those are passive immunity ones. Active immunity, I said you got to be exposed to that particular antigen. That can be naturally acquired or artificially acquired, just like passive. Naturally acquired, someone sneezed on you, someone sneezed on a desk, coughed on a desk, then you touch your own eye or your mouth. Those antigens are coming into your body is going to react and you're going to have an immune response, your T cells and B cells become activated. Artificially acquired means that you're going to be given pieces of an antigen or an antigen that will help to stimulate your whole active immunity. So this is going to be something like a vaccination. So vaccinations expose you to these little antigens from that pathogen. Your body treats it just like getting exposed, like someone sneezing on you. So they go through the normal immune response and you create those memory cells from it. And now you have memory cells so that if you get exposed to that same antigen, you already have the memory cells in place. And again, either you're going to have a much faster immune response in that you won't get as sick, or you won't feel sick at all because you have enough of an active immunity with those memory cells. Now for that artificially acquired, there are a bunch of different types of vaccinations that you can have depending on how you're getting exposed to that antigen. You will not need to know them from the test, but there are things like inactivated ones where it's a pathogen, but it's been basically killed off. And so you still have the little pieces of the antigen that's present on that pathogen, but the pathogen is not living, so it can't really infect you. You can have live attenuated, and that's a weakened form of the pathogen. The big thing like with COVID is we used mRNA vaccinations. The mRNA vaccinations caused you to synthesize viral proteins. So it acted like a trigger to make viral proteins, and then those viral proteins are the antigens that you're now getting exposed to because you just made them, and then your body will have an immune response to it and create those memory cells. You can have conjugate or recombinant vaccinations, which are basically giving you pieces of the pathogen. You can get toxoids, which are basically weakened bacterial toxins that you get exposed to, or viral vectors, which are essentially viruses that had been modified from a more highly virulent virus. So viruses that are very dangerous for us, we don't want to give actively, but if we give a viral vector, which is kind of a weakened form of it, you're going to develop at least a partial immunity to it.